pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Victor, would you lead us in prayer?
Father God in heaven, we come to you today in the mighty name of Jesus, and we thank you for everything that you're doing here in the city of Monte Vista. We ask, God, that you will guide us and teach us along the way, Lord, and we ask that your will, your perfect will be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Lorena, you want to do the call of order, please?
Just so everyone is aware, Councilor Locke and Councilor Lorenz are present via Zoom. Councilor Foster,
Present in person.
Councilor Locke,
Here.
Councilor Lorenz,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Here.
Mayor Becker,
Here.
the quorum is declared.
All right. We do not have any modifications to the agenda? None?
No.
Okay. Approval of consent agenda, minutes of regular meeting from December 16th, 2021, and review and approval of accounts payable.
Move to approve the consent agenda minutes of regular meeting from December 16th and the approval of accounts payable.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approval of the consent agenda for the minutes of regular meeting of December 16th, 2021, and review and approval of accounts payable. Is there any more discussion? Lorena?
Councilor Foster,
Aye.
Councilor Locke,
Aye.
Councilor Lorenz,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker,
Aye.
motion carries to approve minutes from December 16th, 2021.
All right, proclamations, communications, and appointments, the swearing in of council members, Jason Lorenz, Victor Segala, and Mayor Becker.
Okay,
Who are you gonna start with?
with you, Mr. Mayor. Right here. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dale Becker,
I, Dale Becker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte Vista,
Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte Vista.
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of the office
I will faithfully perform the duties of the office
as the mayor,
as the mayor,
which I am about to enter, so help me God.
which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councilman Segala?
Shouldn't look at the judge, dude.
All right, thanks. Okay, please raise your right hand. I, Victor Segala,
I, Victor Segala,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte
and
Vista,
the Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte Vista,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of counselor,
of the office of counselor,
which I am about to enter,
which I am about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I do need you guys to sign this, but you can't take your copy yet because you, Nita has to sign it as well.
Okay.
So, Councilman Lorenz, please stand. Raise your right hand. You can stand, can't you? Yep. All right. Lorenz,
I, Jason Lorenz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte Vista,
and the Charter and ordinances of the City of Monte Vista,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and I will faithfully perform the duties
of the office of counselor,
of the office of counselor,
which I am about to enter, so help me God.
which I'm about to enter, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're all official again.
You're legal now.
All right, we will go to, citizen comments and special presentations. Scheduled appearances have to be, included on this portion of the agenda. Have to file the appropriate paperwork or form with the city clerk no later than noon Monday prior to the meeting. So our presentation tonight is, to start with, is from Kids Connection. Kids Connection, kids.
It's a little misleading. It's, good evening, Mayor. It's actually some special awards to recognize our kids. So each year during our winter break, we've done like an annual gingerbread building. We call it a contest. It hasn't really been a major contest, just something fun to keep the kids busy, give them a little bit of sugar, and just enjoy winter break, and have fun while they're with us, just building like everlasting memories. So, Gigi actually approached me and said, hey, what if we recognize some of your kids at city council? She would really like for Kids Connection to kind of, show a little bit more of what we are doing so that the community sees it. I mean, they see me when I come here, or if they, if our kids come to Kids Connection, they know about us. But this may help, the community kind of understand a little bit more about the program and what we have to offer. So tonight, I am going to present awards to 6 of our kiddos. I'll do each individual room separate, so it doesn't get too crowded up here, and I forgot something, hold on. So if I can have the staff or from my kindergarten to the 2nd grade room come up front for me, Miss Bree. If you're up for it, I'm not gonna force you, she has some stage fright, so if you wanna be there, totally fine. So this is Miss Angel. Angel's been with Kids Connection for about 7 months. Miss Bree has actually been with us almost going on 5 years, right? Yeah. And so I would like to have Miss Lillian come up. And, oh, Lily, up here, you're gonna stay with us. Miss Anaya. Oh, there you are, you snuck up quick. There you go, and Mr. Ozzy. And so each of their awards, I'm gonna borrow yours for a second so I can read it, okay? Just, recognizes these kiddos. This one is Best Decorated Sugar Cone Tree. So since their hands are little and building's a little more difficult or challenging for them, and so they've had a bunch of upset little ones, we made it simpler for them. So they decorated sugar cone trees with green frosting and a bunch of candy. These 3 awards actually went out because these 3 had enough willpower to not eat all of the candy that was given to them. And they actually had candy on their trees. And in addition to that, I'm sorry, Terrence, you are getting a water bottle with some more candy. Oh my God.
Were the parents, is it okay if their pictures were in the newspaper?
Yes.
Okay.
Marie's here too.
Let's not.
Gigi, Marie's here too. Shooters over there.
Congratulations.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, we have Miss Crystal and Miss Madison. So, Miss Madison has been with Kids Connection going on a year, I believe, in February. Crystal will be approaching almost 5 years also, right? And so this award goes to Mr. Zane. And Zane really took the challenge and used as much as he could. The other kids in there, tried, but then we're just like, just throw it and I'm gonna eat the candy. He's the only one that actually like put together a house. Come up. Please. Okay, so Malachi. So Malachi and another kid in the 5th and older group teamed up together. They were smart because they knew that they had a better chance of winning if they teamed up, because we couldn't just award one of them. So Malachi and his partner, who isn't here tonight, actually built a pretty impressive gingerbread house. It was multiple stories and had some pretty cool things going on with it. This is Malachi. Congratulations. Thank you for the picture. Next. Okay. All right. And then I have another special thank you to give. I have a couple things I would like to read. Okay, so, I'm gonna be completely honest, this worked out perfectly for us because we were able to get somebody here who, if he knew the reason that I had him here tonight, he would have argued and been like, nope, not gonna do it. But tonight is a very special recognition for a long-term volunteer, and he's about to realize it now. So many of you may know Jim Poston from his many volunteer endeavors like the URA, the tree board, the community garden, or the band booster for our local high school. But in all reality, he was ours first. Mr. Jim has been a volunteer for Kids Connection for the last 10 years. And since day one, we knew Jim was a blessing to the program. He's taken an interest in not only our youth, but in building everlasting relationships with the staff. We know that Jim genuinely cares, and we love him for that. I'm going to try and not cry. Jim was even brave enough after volunteering to become a paid staff member for an entire summer and run a group with us during the summer because we were struggling to find staff members. So he's been with us not only on the easy side, just being a friendly, helping face, but he's gotten his hands dirty and ran groups and did all of the activities that the staff members do every day. So tonight, we want to celebrate you, Jim. So I have a couple things, and I'll have you come up. We know how much you love our puns. So we put together a board. It says, hey, Mr. Jim, there's no way to put into words just how much we appreciate you. However, we will try. And since we know that you love terrible puns, we came up with the sweetest one to receive us. Over the last decade, you've contributed over, and we did the math, over $200,000 in volunteer hours from one person alone. So you contributed over $200,000 in volunteer hours alone. While it's no easy task, you've taken it all in stride. We really hit the payday with you, even if we took a rocket ship into orbit and searched the Milky Way, there's no way we would find another you. Here are some of the Reese's. You are one of the most wonderful members of our Casey family. You have always been a lifesaver when we were in a crunch. Whenever an issue presented itself, you always have a quick up your sleeve to solve it. You have been by our side even when resources were slim, Jim. I have to mention your dedication to mounds and mounds of homework, even helping create some nerds along the way. We hope at least 1 to 10 of these made you snicker, but if no pun intended, that's okay too. While we cannot take you on a shopping spree to Fifth Avenue in New York, we can do this. And so, Mr. Jim, if you want to come up here for me, please. The item that we chose to recognize Mr. Jim, there's a little bit of a backstory to this. Since the beginning, Mr. Jim has been the one we called on to get things done. If you needed help fixing something or just needed a helping hand, Jim has always been there when we needed him. The original staff that was with us when he joined us, which we have Mike back here to support you, and Jeremy came too. But this is like the original 4. We're missing 1. But we always commented that we all just need a Mr. Jim in our pocket, because he can and has done that all for all of us. We want to present Mr. Jim with a Leatherman that says Mr. Jim, so you will always have us in your pocket. We present a certificate to Mr. Jim Poston for his selfless dedication and perseverance to the youth of Monte Vista Connection over the last decade. We appreciate you, Mr. Jim, and we enjoy having you with us every day. When you're running a few minutes late or you're not able to make it, we're always wondering what Mr. Jim. So, I just want you to know that we thank you and we appreciate it.
This is unbelievable. Thank you.
All right. And you get candy too.
Might be a punish.
Ooh.
You'll be the sweetest punishment.
That's all I have, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
excuse me, you might tell the audience that they're more than welcome to stay, but they're also welcome to leave. They don't have to stay.
No, let's just keep them here. This is great to have a crowd.
You're out.
We'll let them know that after citizen comments. Okay.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, before everybody, no, okay, never mind.
I guess you can't.
I know.
All right, we'll go to citizen comments. City Council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit the comment to 3 minutes. Council will not take action at this meeting. So we have a lot of citizens. We have to have a comment. We can make this meeting last till 9 o'clock if nobody wants to say anything.
That'd be nothing new.
Stephanie?
Where's Margot?
Madison?
3rd meeting in a row, she hadn't been here.
Jeremy? Citizen comment.
It's great to see everybody here tonight. It's been a while. Thank you all for all that you do as well. Coming in every week, doing the work, citizen comments. Great to see people here. It's been a while. Good to see everybody. And thank you again, Mr. Jim.
Okay, Now, if you choose to leave, you're welcome to leave.
Oh, wait.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Hope you guys have a good night, and Happy New Year.
And the reason, that's great, kid connection. Thank you guys for what you do with those kids. One of these days, Steph, you're gonna just have to step up and say it. Don't act all bashful.
She's in the hot seat here in a minute anyway, right?
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Okay, looks like we're going clear to resolutions. Resolution 2022-1, establishing fees for Sky High Complex. Stephanie.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. The proposed fees are for the Sky High Complex are in your packet. Resolution number 2022-01, a resolution of the City of Monte Vista updating Appendix 2-S fee schedule for the Sky High Complex for the City of Monte Vista. Whereas the provisions of Appendix 2-S states that fee schedule may be revised by City Council at its direction and establish fees as needed. And whereas the City of Monte Vista staff has recommended an increase, decrease, and new established assessment of costs associated with the increase in costs in the operation of the Sky High Complex. And whereas the City Council of the City of Monte Vista, Appendix 2-S 2022 fee schedule for the Sky High Complex shall be henceforth established and applied as set forth in Exhibit A. And whereas these changes shall remain in force and effect until amended by resolution of the City Council. And whereas be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Monte Vista, Colorado, that the attached 2022 revised fee schedule for the Sky High Complex attached hereto and marked as Exhibit A. I am requesting for council's approval on this resolution with the attached fees.
Fills the room. Motion to approve resolution 2022-1, establishing fees for Sky High Complex.
Seconded.
Tell me a little bit about how we came up with the numbers.
It's been a long process. I have been going back and forth on these numbers for the last 3 months since I started my position. And we also had a committee of city employees that were working on it for 3 months prior to that. We have researched different event centers, conference centers, and fairgrounds throughout the state of Colorado, as well as other states. Taken all of their fees that they have proposed right now, and that they're currently working with, as in combination with what our new facility will be able to offer the valley, as well as other community members outside of the valley, and just kind of trial and error and seeing what we can do, what's reasonable for our community members to pay, and what the difference is between what they're actually getting in comparison to their costs.
The estimations regarding the expense of the building, I mean, obviously, we have no idea what the cost of operating the building is going to be at this point in time. Was that taken into consideration as well, I assume?
To an extent, yes.
Okay. I also noticed that there is no provisions for multi-day pricing. Is there a reason for that, or was that taken into consideration?
It is taken into consideration for some of the larger events that will have multi-day, events going on at, the complex, such as the Ag Conference or the Crane Festival, Sky High Stampede, the San Luis Valley Fair. Some of those will get a discounted offered, so that since they are using it for multiple days, their pricing won't be as high.
Okay. Do we know what that is?
That is still being worked on.
Oh, okay.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2022-1, establishing fees for Sky High Complex. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I don't know if my discussion for this is for it or against it, which is normally how you're supposed to finish that statement. I look at the number that we've got on the event center at 1,100 a day, and I'm certain that's probably reasonable, but being a member of a group that is proposing having a 3-day function there, in April, I look at that number and I say that that's probably prohibitive for the group that is wanting to do that. So I actually don't know if I'm speaking for this or against it. I am a little concerned about that number. Some of the other ones look a little bit more what I would expect to see. I'm not saying that you didn't do your homework. I'm just speaking at it from a user standpoint and saying that that one is probably a little steep for what they're looking for.
And just another question too, so like the event center, maybe 1,100 a day, or, you know, then down here on the bottom, it says restrooms only, $150 a day. Like, is that additional to all the other costs that are there?
So the restroom or only section was added in there. If somebody's renting the McMullen building or the softball field, and they only want the restrooms because there's no restrooms at either of those sites, they can just rent the restrooms and not have access to any of the rest of the complex.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Foster, part of the analysis in coming up with the all-day facility, charge took into account primarily the cost of the utilities and whatever extra staff that may need to be on hand. Right now, when you're looking at all of these events, we will have to have somebody on site for the full length of whatever the event is. And so it wasn't quite anticipated, but we're gonna have to lean on Public Works employees as well. The costs can certainly be negotiated a little bit, but we're trying to, on the all-day fees, but correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, it also takes in the do you need tables, do you need chairs, what's the setup, what's the takedown, what's the kitchen, catering facilities, and so it's quite expensive.
In addition to that, that also includes the cleaning, whereas previous to this new complex, the users were responsible for cleaning the facilities. That is now included in this pricing. We will take care of all of the cleaning.
So the setting up and the cleaning.
I also think that, hasn't it been traditional that we give 501c3s a 10% discount on things like that? So that might help. I don't know what group you're talking about, but, and I don't think it matters. The cost is what the cost is. But I do believe there is a discount for 501c3s, and I think that will help the nonprofits. Am I correct in that?
Well, Councilwoman Locke, part of the challenge, we didn't want to kind of do a blanket charge. I mean, we got someone in there, for example, the Nature Conservancy. They don't need a 10% discount. Now, somebody like a small local nonprofit, we're gonna work with them, but we're not gonna have something written hard in stone that doesn't provide us any flexibility.
Thank you.
So similar to county fair, when they come in and they ask for a discount, that's still an option. That if they come in and request, okay.
But we're asking for the flexibility that you guys aren't, council members aren't deciding who gets a discount and who doesn't. You know, leave that with staff. Staff can be the bad guy. And it takes a lot of pressure off of you all, you know. Aunt Susie, you know, wants to have her wedding here, we have to give her a discount, but next door neighbor Sally doesn't get the discount. So we're just trying to level that playing field and take that pressure off of you all kind of picking where that break line potentially could be.
Do we have any more discussion? Vote
No,
out. Oh, hang on, what was that, Martha?
no, I just said, no, it looks like a good plan. That's all I was gonna say. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Vote out.
Counselor Foster,
I'll recuse myself from the vote.
Counselor Locke,
Aye.
Counselor Loren,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Zagala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker,
Aye.
May I still call a point of order?
What was that, Martha?
motion approves to,
I said, may I still call a point of order?
You can try, it's a little late.
Okay.
What's your point of order, Martha?
What's that?
What is the legal reason for recusing? Or is, maybe not, maybe I shouldn't ask what, is there a legal reason for recusing?
The position I hold with the Rotary Group puts me at a conflict of interest on voting with this.
Okay.
Duly noted.
If everyone can please unmute.
Okay. Hello.
I can hear you, Rob. We've lost Council Chambers, it seems like.
Yeah, it does.
I'm working on it.
Okay. I think, yeah, might want to call Christian.
I'm on
Jim, I don't know if you can hear us, but we seem to have lost Council Chambers somehow. Think we're back.
Jason's back. Martha, you back?
I hear you.
We
Okay.
didn't go anywhere, we just couldn't hear you.
I don't hear anything now, though.
No, we lost him again.
I think Christian's working on it.
Yeah.
Do you think it would help if I got off and got on by phone?
I don't think so. It looks like it's on their end. It's trying to connect to their audio, so something's missing on their end.
All right.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Was working really good.
Larry did it. Dale did it.
Dale did it.
Dale did it. Victor did it.
Not bad.
We got. We're gonna move Larry.
Now we got you.
All right. Okay,
That's-
we're going to
That's the part they heard.
receive and approve.
Anita, here, we doing financial reports today, or no?
No, can you believe it? I'm not getting up today.
You're not?
And we pointed it out to him,
Yeah, I
too.
wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. Well, okay, so we're staff proposals reports. City manager, please.
Okay, happy new year, council. It's great to be here, and I think our staff is ready to hit the ground running for a very busy 2022. I've got lots of potpourri things to fill you in on, but I'm gonna just hit you with the worst one off the bat. And I wanted to make sure Rob and Nick are on Zoom.
We are here.
Okay, thank you. So, our friends at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is hitting the city with a fine of $80,000 for violations of a metal limit to our water waste discharge permit. They were happy to tell us that they reduced this amount that was over $146,000. So we should be grateful. It's still very hard to appreciate their fine work. Our permit expired back in January of 2020. As you may recall, the city had been working for the last 5 years to reduce the inflow and infiltration, we call it I&I, of the system to get the flow below 1 million gallons a year. The city did a great job because we were using over 2 million gallons a year. The reduction was achieved by replacing several broken lines using cure-in place piping into some of the existing pipes that had cracked and replacing manholes. This was some $3.6 million in investment that the city has already put into this. Bottom line is, if we had reduced the usage below 1 million gallons, we would not have to meet the metal requirements within the system. We were issued a notice of violation because of the levels of metal in our wastewater. Those metals are cadmium, magnesium, copper, mercury, zinc, whole effluent toxicity, and ammonia. These violations are not from poor operation, but mainly due to the fact that the lagoons simply cannot treat for these metals, and therefore our reasoning to pursue the mechanical plant that Rob and Nick have been discussing with you all over the past several months. Once our permit expired, we had to meet these new parameters. The city fought against this, and we lost. The good news is that we can invest the $80,000 into our community if we get approval from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment on a supplemental environmental project. The project has to meet certain criteria and to fall into one of the following categories of either public health, pollution prevention, pollution reduction, environmental education, or environmental restoration. Rob and I have been brainstorming and we have some ideas, so we would like to schedule a work session for greater discussion and to seek your guidance on where you would like to see that investment placed. The project does have to be pre-approved, and we do need to move forward on it. And, they would like to know what we are doing sooner than later. The funding for the SIP will not come from our general fund, but will come from the water and sewer reserves. So Rob and Nick are on standby here to help fill in any of the blanks or to provide any other further background information.
Rob, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, Rob, how close were we to that million gallon mark?
We were fairly close. Our peak flows still exceed the 1 million gallons by roughly about 150 to 200,000 gallons. On average, we're about 700,000 gallons, but our peak flows do exceed the 1 million gallon mark a day. Were you able to hear that, Counselor?
Yeah, no, that was perfect, thank you. The note was made that the permit expired in January 2020. Was that not renewed or not renewable, or tell me a little bit about that?
So, Nick, you want to take that one? You can.
Yeah, I can take that. So, discharge permits that are issued by CDPHE have a 5-year term. Essentially, they last for 5 years, and then they can, after their expiration, they can be administratively continued or extended for an additional 5 years. So any discharge permit will terminate or will sunset at a certain date, but the state health department acknowledges that they can't renew all of these permits on time or before their termination date. So they do what's called administrative extension. And that's where your permit is right now, which can last up to 5 years while they're working on the new permit or while it's in queue to be worked on.
Okay, thank you.
That's part of the project, right?
Part of the project is to apply for a new discharge permit at a significantly reduced flow rate, so that we have easier, I would just say, colloquial terms, easier limits to meet. That is correct. It's a important part of the project.
And anybody else have any questions for Nick or Rob?
No, good.
Is this going to be an ongoing thing where until we get the new plant done, are we going to get hit with another 80,000 next year and the year after that?
No. As frustrating as this whole situation is, there is some silver lining, if you will, because there was a notice of violation issued for these particular metals or these particular issues. There will be no additional fines for them as long as we continue down the path that we have proposed in the schedule we have proposed to the state health department.
Okay. And that was from previous meeting that we discussed that, how we're getting this plant all put together and ready to start a project on it, right?
That's correct. We covered the wastewater plant in pretty good detail. I don't recall what meeting it was last year, but it was when we presented the wastewater master plan to the board and we discussed that schedule.
Okay. That's what I would thought. I just wanted to make sure. And when were we wanting to have this meeting, Gigi?
So I'm asking you guys to do a work session this next Monday, 10th, if that works out for all 5 of you, in order to approve the policies and procedures of Sky High Park. And then we would follow up with a special meeting next Thursday for you all to then to vote on that. So we could lump a work session in on Monday with both subject matters and discuss the SIP as well.
Okay,
I'll leave that up to you all to let us know what you want scheduled.
okay. All right. Well, thank you. I look forward to hearing what the ideas that you and Rob have.
Yeah, that was a nice, Happy New Year present for us.
And welcome to your new job.
Yeah. So, next I wanted to just give a quick HR update. And Councilwoman Locke and Councilman Loren, we emailed you this, chart that the other three are gonna be looking at. And it's just kind of a nice oversight to take a look at. The number of employees at the start of January 1 of 2021, we were at 43. We ended the year at 48. We had 18 new hires during the year. We had 13 employees that were terminated. And, you know, I think our turnover rate is a bit high, so that concerns me, and we'll have to visit with department heads and look at exit interviews to kind of see why we've got folks leaving. At the bottom of the summary, it just says, as it stands at the end of 2021, the city of Monte Vista employs 48 people in full-time, non-seasonal positions. At the beginning of 2021, the city employed 43 in total. Throughout 2021, we have added 4 new full-time positions that were not available in 2020. These new positions are as follows: the Sky High Event Center Manager, an accounting manager, a contract employee, and the 1-cent police officer position. Positions that will be phased out for 2022 is that contract employee, and that was the person that came in and helped Anita with finances, and then the human resources over hire. Because right now, we've got Bob still on the payroll, and he's helping to train Carrie, and so he's trying to find a date when he's gonna be exiting the city. New positions that will be added for 2022 will be a detective corporal, and then the Sky High Assistant Coordinator. In 2022, when all positions are filled, this will place us at a total of 50 employees. And in addition to all the statistics above, we also will hire 5 seasonal positions. For 2022, we have budgeted for 7 seasonal positions as follows: 1 in Parks and Recreation, 3 in Public Works, and 3 at Kids Connection. Okay. The closing of the Guzlo building will take place on January the 24th. That'll get wrapped up. Anita and I are getting a crash course on the Urban Renewal Authority, and we hope to meet with that board very soon. Stephanie didn't elaborate, but a few updates about Sky High. We hope to get the certificate of occupancy either January 27th or the 28th. The name is back up in the air, and we've given you guys a name last year, and working with some of the funders, we're still working on it. Stephanie and I met one evening this week with the Stampede Committee, and they seem to be pleased to put faces with names. We will have a work session Monday to go over the policies and procedures, as I mentioned, and then have you vote on them on the 13th. And then we've picked the date for the ribbon cutting, which will be February the 25th. So we're gonna be designing and sending out a save the date card, and Carla Schreiber and Kathy Woods have already said that we've got interest from some of our federal delegation, so we're gonna make it a nice party. And then in addition, I toured the airport this week. We have received some federal funding through the ARP pots of money Rob and I will be going over that more closely to see where and how those funds can be spent. I've spent a good hour out there with Jed Ellithorpe. He said he'll come in and give us an update here soon. But there are some other maintenance needs that need to take place that I'm hoping that this funding will be able to address and help improve the airport. The one thing that is needed immediately is our fuel management system. And this is, they call it the terminal, and this is the system, electronic system where the pilots run their credit card in order to pay for the gas that they're putting into their airport or their airplane. So I've asked Jed to get some quotes on that, and we'll see if we can't go ahead and get moving on it, because he hasn't been able to fill any gas right now. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any questions?
Thank you, Gigi.
You bet.
Kids Connection.
Hello again. So, let's see. Kids Connection 2021, half of the after-school program wrapped up on December 22nd. We did an end-of-the-year gift for our kiddos during that program before we sent them off for Christmas break. A little portion of the memorial for Bob Brining was that donations be made to Kids Connection in lieu of sending flowers, and we're still receiving quite a few donations. He was a big part of the beginning of our program and where we are now, and our building is actually dedicated to Bob. So with those donations, we felt like it was necessary to give back to our kids just before sending them off with parents, and yes, it was more candy. It's terrible. I feel like all I've given them over the last 3 weeks has been candy, but it doesn't happen too often. We know what it's like to interact with kids that have too much sugar, so we try to minimize that, but this year we were like, let's just do it. So we actually wrapped candy bars to look like snowmen and put a pair of gloves on the top of the candy bar, like a hat. So all of our kids got a little snowman candy bar and a pair of gloves, something necessary for our kids to have with the amount of time we spend outside during the cold weather. And then we had a bunch of stuffed animals that were donated by the police department. And so we wrapped those up, and as kids were going home the last week, they got to dig through the pile of wrapped animals and pick a surprise bear or whatever was in that wrapping paper, and it was just the luck of the draw. That animal was meant for them, and that's why they picked it. So kids were super excited about that. We also did some parent gifts from our kids. Excuse me. And so we bought some little plates from Dollar Tree, and the kids decorated them with whatever design they wanted to as a gift for their parents, and they really enjoyed that. That was the first craft that I didn't have my middle schoolers complain about, so we were super excited. Our winter break started on December 28th. We were open 6 of the 8 days. Our winter break wrapped up today. So kids go back to school on Tuesday, and we will start the after-school program again on Tuesday the 11th. Yeah, Tuesday the 11th. With that, we did the Gingerbread Houses. We played a lot of Ghosts in the Graveyard. It's our kids' favorite thing. With a large group, it's like hide and go seek, except for you have one person hiding, and then the large group searches for the ghost that's hiding, and when you find the ghost, you yell "Ghost in the Graveyard," and the ghost comes out and tags you. And then we just rotate, and a new ghost plays every round. So it's a quick game, but gets a lot of energy out. It's a lot of fun, because with it getting as dark as it does, as early as it does, our building is dark. when the lights are off, so it's a lot of fun. Let's see. So, exciting news coming for 2022. The new year brings new opportunities to be better than the previous year. So, when I was working on Mr. Jim's volunteer recognition, I came across the Presidential Volunteer Service Award program. And it doesn't sound super exciting to adults, but to an adult that one of my big jobs in working with children is to teach them how to form their own opinions and critically think on their own without imposing my own political views on them. I thought it was very fitting to sign up for this program, which will give Kids Connection the ability to deliver presidential honors to our volunteers. It also allows us to recognize volunteer service hours for youth as young as 5 years old. So it goes based on the age, and we can purchase little honors to present them with, and it's something as small as like just a little pen that says Presidential Volunteer of the Year Award, some certificates, and letters authenticated from the White House. When I came across it, I was like, this is really cool, and what a better way to encourage our little ones to give back to the community than this really cool honor to look forward to. It allows some of our older kids that do volunteer service across different organizations, as long as I can speak with those other organizations and verify those hours, they can count towards the hours that they do with Kids Connection, so I can recognize them for the total amount of hours they volunteer throughout the year. So I'm really excited about that. Any little incentive we can give them to help challenge them and give them a reason to do something good for someone else, then we're all about it. It may sound like bribing kids to do good deeds, but I promise it creates positive behaviors and creates more positive, like a more positive reward system. We're really trying to stay as positive as possible. There's a word positivity coming out of my mouth quite often. The last couple of years have been really rough, so we're focused on just doing better and providing more and finding anything that we can do to provide our kids with greater opportunities. So that is really all I have. I'm just waiting for confirmation on the application, and then we can get started with that volunteer service program.
That's really cool. And getting the youth to learn to volunteer,
Yeah.
because as you know, most times it's the same volunteers constantly.
Yeah.
So I will applaud you for what you do. Great job. You and your team do a fantastic job, and I applaud you.
That's the key word there, my team. If Kids Connection wouldn't be what it is if I didn't have the staff, the amazing volunteer that I have supporting my leadership.
Takes a village to raise a child, and we see who your village is.
I have an amazing village. I would not trade my village for anyone else. If I could keep them forever, I would. Any questions?
Just appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Recreation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I hope that you guys had a Merry Christmas, and I want to wish you all a happy and blessed New Year. Hopefully it's a better year. And you guys could have put it better, in our department, just kind of focusing on what we did in 2021 and trying to improve it for 2022. Just to give you a little, like I would say in my reports, it's a repetition of every season that we go throughout the year. And just to go back a little bit on December, we finished with girls basketball. Our last games were on December 15th, I believe just before Thanksgiving. And at the same time, we're starting with boys registrations, basketball registrations. Monte Vista, so we usually try to host as many games that we can, tournaments that we can here. And when we do that, we're in charge of all the schedulings for all the towns. So that said, this year we are hosting boys basketball tournaments here in Monte Vista. So I was in charge of doing the scheduling for about 27 teams. And that includes making sure that some teams travel together because they have siblings in different teams. And so the way they go together. That's for first, second, third, and fourth, and fifth and sixth grades. So it's a little bit challenging, but it was done, and that needed to be done before Christmas break. So the coaches and teams and all that lined up because the first games will start next week, Tuesday, and so they need to get practices this week. I was planning to take a 2 weeks off, but that didn't work out, so I took up 1 week, which was good. Some things needed to get done, so I had to cancel that extra week and come back and do that. We haven't been able to hire somebody to help with it in the department, and so, things need to get done. We also, during that time, just before Christmas break and all that, as we were finishing the girls basketball season, it was time to collect uniforms. We still collected some uniforms, because I can't get to everything and everyone. As a matter of fact, we got one today. And then we're handing out uniforms for the boys, so it's kind of like a switch situation there. Also trying to, I think I use, volunteers is the main thing with how these programs run in our, and especially in our departments. That's kind of like the vein of the department, If you don't have or the blood of the department, if you don't have that, you can't function. So our volunteers are a main thing here. And we were kind of struggling with volunteers this year. I finally found the last 2 coaches for the 2 teams that we had in Monte Vista yesterday. So I was kind of getting worried there. But some parents came out and they will do it. And I'm very, very appreciative for that. During scheduling, part of my job is also to get in contact with the schools to request the gym for gym space to practice in games and be with, because they are also running basketball at the same time that we are. They have the girls basketball season, we have our boys basketball season. Their practice and their games are primary. So with the number of teams that we have, it was hard to find gym space. We got the 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th over at the middle school, and we were struggling to get the space for the 1st and 2nd grade. I contacted Nazarene, I went and looked at gyms and stuff like that, but just because of the setup they have, it wasn't going to work. But called the school again, and they allowed us to use the Buildmet, which was a little bit of conflict because the high school also practiced at the Buildmet, and at the high school. So we're just gonna have to kind of work with them to get in there after high school practices. But I think it's a good timing for 1st and 2nd to get there. I think it should be about 6:30 to 7:30. We'll be practicing there. And then our games. Our games usually gonna be from, I'm just trying to think of all that. 1st and 2nd grade games will be Tuesdays and Thursdays evenings. And then 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th grade will be Wednesdays and Saturdays. And like always, I invite everybody to stop by there any of those times. We usually start games at 6:30 and then 7:30. You're welcome to stop by there and see how things run. We host them at the middle school gym. we also, I'm also working on and actually it's coming up, I set up a youth basketball skills challenge competition. We usually do this every year, we didn't do it last year because of COVID. This program, kinda partner up with the Denver Nuggets, team or association, but because of COVID, the Denver Nuggets didn't wanna be a part of it, but we're still gonna do it, in our own kind of thing with the Colorado Parks Association. And so all it is just a free, basketball skills challenge where the kids can go and compete, and test their skills on dribbling, passing, and shooting. And they compete with local, kids here, and then if the first place from every division moves on to Pueblo, and then if they get first place there, then move on to Denver, and then they stay champion. So, and sometimes there's several times we get kids that make it all the way to Pueblo, and it gets tough after that. But it's a good experience, you know, pushes to see what's out there, and just push themselves to be better. And so that's why I like to set up this program. That will be, let's see, I have that set up for Sunday, January 23rd, from 2 to 6 p.m. It is free again for all ages 6 years old to 13 years old, boys and girls. Again, the skills will be in dribbling, shooting, and passing. Also, about the end of January, we'll be starting, I'm gonna start setting up registrations for Adult Basketball League, and that league goes from March through May, and that's for ages 15 and up. It's open for men's and then women's, and that's usually a good turnout for us. Hopefully, by that time, the middle school should be done with their indoor activities, so we should be able to have a little more space to run those programs there. Just, you know, looking forward to this new year, just kind of trying to get all these programs going. Kim used to do a lot of the stuff that I'm now, had to pick up, and then Tony also. So it is just a little bit challenging, but it's getting done and doing the best that I can to get everything out there. I would like to have more things going, but I can only spread myself so far. So just be patient with me with some of those programs that I might not be, if we don't get enough help, that I might not be putting out there that I actually do. But we're working on that. I can't think of anything else that I can. I think we're taking a couple trainings online for the new software that we're getting, the ProRec or Rec Pro. It's a lot of information. I mean, it's a 3-hour training twice a week, and then we're set up for 2 more, I think, or 3 more. But I think it'll be a good program. It will help the Sky High and the Rec program as far as putting out information out there for the parents to be able to sign up online and not having to come out here on the cold or, just sign up. They could do it from home, and just, it's good. I think it's a lot of information, but I think it's a good one. So we're doing that. Anything else? You guys have any questions for me, or anything that you guys would like to see from the rec department up to the community? I'm always ears, and I always have ideas or open to hear ideas.
Well, I think your plate's pretty full as it is, but I know you're up for a challenge all the time.
Yeah.
But I sit here and think, Nika works on Kids Connection, works with the youth there. You work with the youth in sports, which also teaches them a lot as far as responsibility, how to team play. And I know that can be challenging because my wife used to be a coach, and I just don't watch because they would get too wild for me, but, so, with that being said, I'm gonna also stand and applaud you. What you do is amazing. I know you work hard at it, and I really appreciate and respect you for what you do.
I appreciate that, but I think, most of this grant is up to the community, you know, they're the ones that deserve that, because it's the event that the reason we're here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to council committee, city commission, and council reports. And because you guys aren't present, we're gonna start with you, Mr. Lorenz.
I have nothing tonight, Dale. Thanks to Christian to get the Zoom working though. That was helpful.
Yeah, that's why he comes and sees us all the time, man. Martha, how about you? Martha's muted. Martha, you're muted. Is she unmuted yet?
Okay, now, I got it now. I'm gonna go back to the night that the lights went out in Monte. I am so extremely impressed with the way people pulled together as a team. Gigi was right in the middle of all of it, and so was Chief, and both of them were calm. There was no frantic. I'm sure there was frantic stuff going on. But when we got there, we were met with a sense of calm. And I know that if we'd had to take people in, that would have been so super important for us to all follow that example and be calm. I saw Mayor Becker there, Larry Foster. It's just too many people to mention, and I don't want to single people out. But wow, we pulled together, and I just thought it was fantastic that in an hour or so, we had a warming shelter set up, ready to take on people not just from Monte, but from anywhere in the valley, because it was a valley-wide outage mostly. So yeah, there's some things that can be improved, and that night showed us those. And I feel like I have all the confidence in the world that those things will be addressed and will be improved, and we'll continue to move forward. But man, go Monte. Y'all did a great, just a great job pulling that together in just a matter of a little bit of time. And where I saw other towns were saying things like, well, if its lights are still off at 11, we'll start looking at different plans. We were ready by 9:30 at the latest. We could have had people in there and could have been doing stuff. So I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody that did come out. I want to thank everybody that comes out for a lot of different things that this town does, and the volunteers that do step up. And I want to apologize that I've not been as involved this last month or so, but I'm trying. Every time I take a run at the door, something stops me, like my body. And but I'm running at the door, and I'm going to make it out one day. I am. And just get ready. It's going to be good. So as Mayor always says, Monte strong. Fantastic work. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Mr. Foster?
Yeah, 2 items. Tuesday night, 5 to 7, Grace and Mercy Bible Fellowship will have its monthly community supper. That's for everyone who wants to come out, regardless of your social or economic standing. Love to see a crowd there. The second one is, at the last meeting, I challenged my colleagues to come up with a project that they could put their stamp on, that in a year from now they could say, we accomplished this. What do you got, Victor?
I haven't got nothing yet for you.
Okay. Martha, what's your project? She muted herself again, didn't she?
I did. I don't have a specific project, no.
Okay, Jason, what do you got?
Not
Anything?
like my answer, Larry. I don't think politicians picking special projects to hang their hat on is a good idea. I think we do the jobs of the city, we do it well, and we focus on that.
Okay. Mayor?
I don't have anything specific.
Okay. I'll give you mine, which won't be without its detractors, I'm sure, but that's all right. I go to Full Wilder Pike Park twice a day to walk my dog, so I'm in there frequently. And during the summertime, I like to see, you know, there's people out there picnicking. They have their Sonic, they have their takeout burritos, they got their Dairy Queen, and that makes me smile. Especially when I look at that and I see the tags that say they came from New Mexico or California or Texas, and that makes me smile. And that makes me happy. I'm going, oh, we got people stopping in town and they're enjoying our parks and they're buying our food, and then my countenance drops as I look at the 5-foot tall weeds and the broken windows and the graffiti and the rotting siding of the depot. It's an eyesore. It's dilapidated. It has signs on it that say unfit to occupy. We spend money on saying, let's dress up our downtown so that people will come downtown, and why would they want to come downtown when that's the image of Monte Vista we give them? My project, I want to knock the depot over and extend the street. That's my report.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Segala.
So that does kind of remind me of something that I brought up last year, I think sometime, about like going through town, and even myself living here in Monte Vista, you know, taking my kids out for a treat or something. Let's go get something to eat. Okay, let's go to the park. Okay, where are we gonna eat? Oh, we have to eat in the car because there's no picnic tables outside. You know, so like there's one in the park by Love's, there's one at the skate park, or maybe two, and then there's one over here at the picnic area, and two on maybe that side. You know, but there's like 100 people at the park. You know, and it's like, how many people don't stop at the park because they don't have a place to sit? You know, so like it takes me back to the story where there was a gentleman who was always there. And he was a larger gentleman, and people would be like, hey, come over. And he would show up, and he would stand around in the house for a couple minutes, and he'd look around, and then he'd disappear. He'd be like, hey, I'm gone. And everybody would be like, how come he always comes and leaves? How come he never stays? He shows up, and then he's like here for 2 minutes, and then he's gone. So somebody finally said, hey, what's up? How come you don't stay? And he's like, if they wanted me to stay, they would provide me a place to sit. You know, he's a big man, they know he's big or whatever, but they don't have a chair big enough for him. So they say, come over, but they don't provide him a stable place to sit and hang out and chill or whatever. You know, so he leaves. So like that's kind of like my point of view too on the people that come through town. You know, it's like, do we have a place for them to sit? You know, like I don't even have a place to sit here, and I'm here all the time, and I drive around, and I'm like, okay, you know, we're gonna have to go sit down in the middle of the park somewhere, which is fine, you know, but there's a lot of people that like to sit on the bench. There's a lot of people that don't like to sit on the floor, you know? So anyways, that just kind of brings up something that I thought about last year sometime, you know? I think it's just important for people to have a reason to be able to stop, just like somebody park, you know? And besides that, I do want to just wish everybody a happy new year. So stay warm.
Very good, thank you, Victor. So, we'll go to the evening that the lights went out in Monte Vista, and kudos to everybody that did help. But, I had my concerns about why everything happened, and I'm sure a lot of other people did, why it happens in Boulder, why did we get our lights shut out? So last evening, there was a Zoom meeting, that was presented with, Donald Valdez and representatives from XL Energy. And I got to sit in on it, and it was really interesting to me because I got to find out a lot about why, because all this time I thought our gas comes over the mountain from Pagosa area or whatever, and that shouldn't have interfered with us. Well, they left a map out and showed why things happened the way it did. And our pipeline for gas in the valley has a pumping station in Boulder, as well as, I think there was 4 or 5 other ones that are all tied together. So when that fire went burning through in Boulder, it burned right past one of their pressure stations. So they had to quickly make a decision on what they were going to do with this. So they took the pressure down. And they took the pressure down throughout the whole pipeline, which covers the mountain region of the San Luis Valley. So understanding that, because a lot of people were really upset about it, and I mean, I wasn't upset, but I was trying to figure out why. So when they took the power down, it was because they had to depressurize it. They pulled the pressure of the gas line down just to keep pilot lights burning. To offset that, they pulled the power down because that would keep furnaces from even trying to kick on. So that kept the pilot lights on. That's why they did what they did. And that was interesting to find out because, I mean, you're talking about, roughly close to 1,000 buildings that burnt to nothing and people without homes. We all still have our homes. We may have got cold for a little bit, but we were making plans to take care of that for people. And so seeing that, it was understanding, and I think people need to understand that XL Energy people had to shoot from the hip on this deal of what they had to deal with, because of the fire actually turned and went back toward the pressure station as well. So knowing that, those people were, I mean, they had to make some serious calls quickly because of the situation at hand. So I think if you see an XL person out there working, you need to be appreciative of what they are doing, because a lot of them from here are actually up in Boulder trying to figure that out. Because one of the comments that were made is, okay, if we wouldn't have shut that off, or if we'd not taken it off and then had to shut it completely down, then XL Energy would be going door to door in all these municipalities to make sure they had their pilot lights relit. So in a way, they saved themselves having to be at everybody's door and not having enough people to do that as well. So kudos to them for having to make those decisions. I hope that we as Monte Vista never have to make a decision on what we're going to shut down to what we're going to keep going to how we're going to handle a situation. Because, I mean, it's been several years ago, there was a big fire that started over here on the refuge and ended up clear over behind Alamosa in a matter of a short period of time because of the wind. So we need to be prepared, but we need to know, to me, ask the questions and know the whole story instead of just make accusations. Because, I mean, we pulled it together. As Martha said, we had a place. We had heaters, we had generators, we were lined up. And it took, Chief and I were probably on the phone for, an hour prior to all that? The minute the power went out, Chief was calling me. Gigi was involved in the conversations and messages as well. And within an hour, we had a heater sitting there and the power to run it. So we prepped. We got it there. Was it 100%? No, but communication side of it, we were ready. And I know that we could have called on more volunteers, so I just wanted everybody to know that, because, a lot of times people just make the accusations that decisions were made, they weren't properly made, but when you're looking at what they went through in a matter of a few hours, they had to make some calls, so respectfully to XL Energy for doing what they did. And Happy New Year, everybody. God bless you all. So,
Happy New Year.
we will recess the meeting till January 20th, I believe it is, 6 p.m.
Here's cake out there for everybody, just to kind of celebrate the new year. If you like a piece of cake, one's chocolate, one's red velvet. Say congratulations to our elected officials.
What time on Monday?
5:30, I think it was. You would've got a text message from Anita.
Well, I can't, went to my other email, is my problem.
I'll have to
Find it.
It was
Good night, young.
Night, Martha.
Night.
okay.
I'll try my hardest to read it.
Okay.
5:30, yeah, there it is.
If not,
I said it went to my other email.
Yeah. Good night, Jason. Good night, Martha.
Good night, guys.